both short-term and long-term emergencies, knowing that you have to plan early for these. If you have an emergency, you can't just turn around and say, I know, let's have more food. It can take 3 years to build up the kind of resilience it takes to get that kind of power. So what are the steps it would take now, right now? What do we need to do to make the changes it would take?
Drying food, preserving, is this for our own houses, or is there going to be somewhere where we can contribute to like a community bank for people that are in townhouses, condos, that are seniors, renters, etc.?
We've got the U-Brew centers, right? Well, you could have the canning center, the same model, right? Bring your apples in, pay your $3, and come back in 2 weeks and get your box of canned apples or applesauce.
I think that's one avenue that could be explored on a larger scale with foraged fruits and excess vegetables, whatnot, where investment in drying facilities and even the construction of solar dryers, things like that, and have that kind of food in storage for emergency purposes. Because you can also store dried fruits in the same way as seeds. As long as you have them at the proper temperature, they'll store for a long time. As compared to canning, which you essentially destroy the vitamins and whatnot. So
community gardens. I mean, this fits into that one that we just did too, but just to have well-established community gardens. We've got one in Sechelt, I think, but there aren't too many around, and that really needs to be a focus so that apartment dwellers or people in town that are living, in a townhouse can actually grow their own food. It can be an education center too.
As well, each other, yeah. So
teach about composting right in the heart of the town.
Did it come up, Robin, about coordinating the people who have property that they want to offer for gardening?
I think we had land sharing, but using Crown land, but I should say
It's actually that
private land.
It's actually that coordinating piece.
How can also some people maybe who aren't doing big scale farming or trying to or whatever, but actually create things like this co-op or whatever that actually supports the farmers.
We could even get more value out of that tractor if our neighbor needed to use it and we had some sort of an arrangement. It gets complicated for who's going to take care of it and responsibility and all that kind of stuff, and that's why most farmers won't lend their equipment. But if we get over that hump, because farmers are fairly independent people and don't want to have to do extra work because somebody else broke their tractor, if we can figure that out, if there's someone who took care of that tractor, distributed that tractor, make sure it's booked, that's just one piece of equipment, for example.
You don't need to fix the tractor. You don't need to worry if it's rented tomorrow because someone is actually taking care of those kind of things. I think it's a great idea.
Along with that scale, you get specializations of knowledge. Sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's good because you have somebody who knows that tractor, can fix it just like that. But if you want to just till it, you don't want to fix the tractor before you till, you might just want to say, fix it so I can get on with my job, what I do well.
But when you're sharing equipment, you both fix it. And if somebody's using equipment doesn't fix it, you have a problem. I come from a farm where we did do some sharing of equipment with our neighbors, and I was young. My father was non-mechanically inclined, and the neighbor finally said, you know what, you have that piece of equipment because I'm not fixing it anymore.
I understand completely, but think of the car co-op, for example. Do people who use the car co-op, do I fix those cars? I hope not, because a person will get a really kind of botched fix job the next time they take it out.
Right.
Yeah.
So the car co-op actually
mechanics.
hires
They have mechanics.
Yeah, but if you apply those criteria to farming, well, you're out of business. Boom.
So?
Well, because you can't afford. I don't know if you've noticed, but farming is not very profitable these days. Sorry, you can't. You won't stay afloat.
Are you sure? Have you run the numbers?
Yes.
I mean, I'm talking a larger scale.
As long as we have free trade and we import food from China for pennies on the dollar, you cannot be a farmer.
That's a different discussion. I'm just saying a way of getting you there easily.
Yes.
As long as the price of food goes
Okay.
up, because things aren't being subsidized, that's another issue.
Well, we don't
Well, and I think that
actually
what you're
disagree
saying
on
too
that.
about having a mechanic included in the whole thing is that we're
Yeah.
opening the whole thing.
The
It's
thing
like
is-
everybody's responsibility. It's everybody's
the
responsibility
action-
to support the farmer.
I missed your last
No, I'm just
sentence.
saying by including a mechanic is part of the co-op that is included in the wholeness
So who runs the co-op?
Well, someone who
Everyone?
takes it up as
And the co-op buys the produce or just provides stuff?
Well, I just threw the co-op idea out there. My original idea is just maybe it would be a good idea to think bigger, because then you can use the scale to deal with some of the logistics across a number of farmers, number of people getting into it.
Share the methods or the resource.
and buying
the
together.
produce
the
more.
equipment,
Yeah.
the distribution methods.
We will always be stronger together.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I buy chicken feed, I buy with 2 or 3 farmers. It's a
Exactly,
bit
that's
cheaper.
right.
Share the gas, share the ferry. That's a co-op kind of
Yeah.
idea.
It
It
is.
works. Yeah.
I mean, there still has to be a business model in there overall, but it's the same whether you're farming individually or as part of a co-op. You're still dealing with subsidies from offshore and an unrealistic expectation about what kind of quality food that you should get for a very low price.
So as local governments, I really agree with what was said. We have more impact on what can happen in our community through bylaws and policies and visions
And one of our things on the other thing was
and lobbying.
political accountability.
yes, and
So
lobbying the next level of government to change some of what they're promulgating.
Demand accountability of the mills and the other facilities to measure their air particulate matter, dioxins, furans, etc. If we're claiming to be organic, then that should be an absolute to measure what is in the air and what's coming onto the gardens in the area. So that's an important accountability from the
demanding accountability.
yeah.
You don't think that there's enough now? I mean, the BC government is checking house on paper all the time.
Right. We actually looked at the laboratory that they told us that they used, and we phoned the laboratory, and the laboratory has never had to measure dioxins and furans and these things that we're asking about. All the things that are supposed to be organic. So this is something we're just working on now, and I think it's very, very serious and very important to demand accountability for it. Yeah.